Hey, welcome back, everyone, to Patriot Knife and Tool Works on a Monday, a work Monday. Man, I remember when the dreaded Monday would come around in my younger days. Yeah, I remember. I've been retired 11 years, but I remember pulling the boots on and getting up at the crack of dawn to go pour concrete or frame a house before it gets too hot, starting real early when the sun comes up. I did just about everything, man. I worked in warehouses, lumber mills. I worked in steel rebar plants. I worked for the Forest Service when I was 19, planting trees and fighting fires and cutting trail. I did electrical plumbing, had my own sign business for a few years, and I finished it off with 20 years in law enforcement, which allowed me to retire, and so I'm blessed for that. But yeah, man, Monday, the dreaded Monday. Well, today's Monday, but it's a blessed day, and I want to thank everyone for joining me on this episode. Going to be a quick one here. I just want to talk a little bit about hardware store chains of the bygone day that used to have interesting knives and tools branded with their own brand. And not so much done anymore, but it was done way, way back in the day. And I got a few examples of that. We're going to talk about it a little bit. I've got a hardware store catalog from this big old double bit axe here. And let's take a look at it. Let's get started. Yeah, so this is a really, really wonderful big old double bit from about 1930. Stiletto. Yeah, Stiletto cutlery was a brand name of Baker and Hamilton Pacific Company, a hardware chain on the West Coast. And really, really cool history. Here's a knife here. Stiletto cutlery right there. There's a knife from them. Work knife there. Yeah, pruner. So Baker and Hamilton Pacific Company has a really, really cool history. Started on the West Coast in Sacramento. A gentleman in around 1848-49 put up a tent and started selling shovels, picks, and tools to the miners. A few years later, after putting some money together, having a few other investors join in, they really started up a large hardware chain and a huge building that's still standing in San Francisco. It's on a historic registry. Great big giant building. Baker and Hamilton, going way, way back. Not the oldest, but one of the earliest on the West Coast for sure. Think about that, man. Started out selling picks and shovels to miners, and but they're one of the large hardware chains, not as well known as like Shapley Hardware or some of the others, but very, very storied history with that company. So you got a stiletto knife here and a stiletto axe. Let's take a quick glance at this really, really cool Baker Hamilton Pacific Company catalog. This is the best catalog that they ever put out. This is number 7, I believe, number 7. And this thing, and this is their cutlery, tools and cutlery catalog. It is so packed. It is absolutely amazing. And this is from the 20s, folks. probably from like 1924, 28, somewhere in there. And it's in amazing condition, considering I don't like to flip it open that often, but I'm going to do it real quick for you. And so this is, whenever you see these old hardware chain catalogs, you want to get the ones that are made for the cutlery. But this has everything. I mean, this has axes, tools, every tool, axe, hardware you could imagine. I mean, it is just absolutely the cat's meow. I mean, it gets into everything. Fishing, hunting, fishing poles, bicycles, you name it. It's got the cutlery selection here. There it is, stiletto. You know, just, this is just really the cat's meow, folks. These catalog, if you can get them now, the Keen Cutter catalogs go for a lot of money, man. But this has all these old knife patterns. Just, you know, here we go. I got this knife right here. Here it is. That one right there. Yep. Isn't that cool? I got another stiletto. I got a couple more stiletto knives too. But my goodness, folks. Is that cool? Yeah, you got your razors. But look, I mean, it's got guns. This has guns, hunting knives. Look at this. What a resource, huh? It's got marbles, knives. I mean, this, look at fish hooks, camping, hunting gear, lures. If you started collecting old fishing lures and things, this is a good resource for it. Bicycles. Oh, man. Yeah, you're talking back in the good old days, folks. All right, so we're going to kind of put that cool book away, try to end it here. We're going to look at a few things. So we looked at the stiletto here, great big old double bit. Let's look at another brand, Keen Cutter, and the embossing on this Keen Cutter is just awesome. I've got a really cool Keen Cutter jack, probably from the same time period as this hatchet here. Yeah, so it's really, really cool. You get into some of this stuff. It's just absolutely amazing. I love the hardware store related knives and axes and things. Tools. What do we got here? Pacific Hardware right here. There it is. Baker Hamilton Pacific Hardware right there. Pretty rare knife. You see these. I've seen some of these big bone jack knives and the big folding hunters, the early ones from the turn of the century, and they go for a lot of money, man. They're pretty sought after. Yeah, so old tools, man. Timber Scribe. This is an old Camillus here. Yeah, real early. A nice small one. Most of them are a little bit larger than that. The old tools. Strayed Walden. Yeah, skinning and scraping knife. So this was kind of a jack of all trades tool here. It's an early one. I love the bail on that. And let's look at another cool axe from a hardware chain. Actually, this one here, Lakeside. See that stamp right there? That's Montgomery Ward's. Right after the turn of the century, Montgomery Ward's, this was their flagship, top-of-the-line tool name. And you'll find tools and every kind of tool imaginable with the Lakeside stamp. But here we got a beautiful single-bit axe from Montgomery Ward's from probably the 20s or 30s, along with a Lakeside Cutlery big old stag jackknife. Is that cool? Yeah. Yeah, so the the old hardware store, knives, axes, tools, guns, you name it, man. It is really, really a neat part of history to collect. And man, this is just barely touching on it. I'm going to end it because I'm going to show you a couple rare items here. All right, this is it's hunting season, folks. And I've only seen one other little saw like this on an old listing on eBay from years ago. A Henry Diston and Sons number 20. Little T-handle. This is a game saw. Probably made in the 1920s, maybe 30s, for processing game. Back when hunting and camping and stuff was really started becoming the Boy Scouts and all that was really the thing. This is a rare item here. It came with a kind of sort of like a leather sheath that was just falling apart, and I ended up having to toss it. But that's rare. I've only seen a photograph of one of these, so they probably only made it for a few years. Yeah, so Diston Saw got into the hunting game a little bit. These are cool. I paid nothing for these things, but I picked them up just because Star Knife Company patented July something, 1873 or 78. Here is the other one here. I think these are leather makers, saddle makers, knives. Not positive, but I think that's what those are. Yeah, so these are probably from the 1880s or something. Very cool. Very cool stuff. Yeah, man. Yep. All right, everyone. Yeah, the dreaded Monday. And I hope on this Monday I find every one of you doing well. God bless. Thanks for watching. Keep your head on a swivel and oil them joints. Need to oil this one up. Thanks for watching.